Welcome back to my YouTube channel, another exciting video where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, unbelievable minting errors, and the hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket change. And today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about, mysterious, and surprisingly valuable coins in American numismatic history, the 1981 cent coin. A simple Lincoln penny that most people overlook every single day, but a few rare versions of it have shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching values as high as $4 million because of the incredible minting errors, rare die variations, and striking mistakes that make this small copper coin a true gem in the world of coin collecting. So stay tuned till the end because this story about the 1980 penny will make you rethink every coin you've ever held in your hand. Now imagine a coin that was never supposed to exist in its error form, a coin struck during a time when the United States Mint was making a critical transition, balancing production pressures, design perfection, and metal composition changes, and amidst all that came the 1980 Lincoln cent, which, while appearing normal to the average person, hides within it some of the most fascinating and costly mistakes ever produced on a modern coin. And when you take a closer look, you realize that this isn't just about one kind of error. It's a story that connects multiple types of errors, striking anomalies, planchet flaws, and die imperfections that together make certain 1981 cent coins worth up to $4 million to the right collector. Starting with the basics, the 1980 penny features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design by Frank Gasparo. And while billions of these coins were minted, mostly at Philadelphia and Denver, only a handful contain those extraordinary errors that make them ultra-rare. And the fascinating part is that even though this coin looks like any other from a distance, under magnification, experts have identified doubling, off-center strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, and in some cases, transitional planchets, which are among the rarest phenomena in U.S. coinage. Imagine holding a coin that was supposed to be made of one metal but was accidentally struck on another metal blank leftover from a previous year's production. That's what we call a transitional error, and it's one of the reasons why certain 1981 cent coins can command million-dollar prices, especially those that show copper or zinc inconsistencies, because remember, the mint was preparing for a composition change that came in 1982 when the penny switched from mostly copper to a copper-plated zinc core. So experimental planchets or leftover blanks from earlier production runs could have been used accidentally, creating coins that should never have existed. Collectors who have studied minting practices from that era believe that a few 1980 pennies were struck on transitional planchets, possibly 95% copper or even other alloy blanks, creating a very limited run of coins with unique metallic compositions that drastically increase their rarity and desirability. Now beyond the metal composition, one of the most sought-after and visually striking errors on the 1980 penny is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin die, the engraved stamp used to strike the design, is misaligned slightly between impressions during the hubbing process, resulting in design elements appearing doubled, and on the 1980 penny, the doubling is often visible in the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1980, and in extreme cases, this doubling can be so dramatic that it's visible to the naked eye, causing collectors to pay small fortunes for even lightly circulated examples, while a pristine, uncirculated 1980 doubled die could easily fetch hundreds of thousands or even millions due to its rarity, especially if authenticated by grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. Another error that makes the 1981 cent so special is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank is not seated properly in the striking chamber, leading to part of the design missing and a blank crescent-shaped area visible, and depending on the percentage of the off-center strike, the value can skyrocket, with coins struck 50% off-center while still showing the full date and design elements being the most valuable. And if you combine that with a mint mark like D for Denver or no mint mark from Philadelphia, and perhaps a visible doubling or planchet flaw, you're looking at a one-of-a-kind coin worth an astronomical amount, sometimes even exceeding millions depending on collector demand. Then there's the intriguing world of die cracks and die breaks, which are often dismissed as minor flaws but can actually enhance the coin's uniqueness significantly. These are caused by the intense pressure used to strike coins, which over time can cause the dies to crack or even break slightly. leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface, and while some may think of these as imperfections, for error collectors they represent the character and history of the minting process. Every die crack tells a story, and when they appear in significant or visually striking ways, like a crack extending from Lincoln's head to the rim or across the Lincoln Memorial, they can make the coin highly desirable, especially if combined with other major errors. Then we also have the misaligned die errors, where the obverse and reverse designs don't align perfectly, leading to uneven rims or design shifts, and this misalignment can make certain coins visually fascinating and extremely rare, particularly when it affects the lettering or portrait in a way that's noticeable even without magnification. What makes the 1980 penny especially interesting is how many different error types can appear on coins from that year, likely due to aging mint equipment and high production volumes, both of which increased the chance of mistakes slipping through quality control. And when a batch of these coins made it into circulation, collectors decades later began discovering that these weren't ordinary pennies at all, but potential treasures worth life-changing sums. The highest known valuation, around $4 million, comes from a 1981 cent coin exhibiting multiple compounded errors, a double strike, off-center alignment, and struck on a transitional planchet, with a strong doubling on the date and letters, creating a combination so rare that experts agree only one or two examples might exist. And it's this combination of extreme rarity, visual appeal, and historical significance that makes such a coin worth millions. Collectors often say that the 1980 penny represents a perfect storm of minting anomalies, because not only does it come from an era of massive coin production, but it also sits right before a major shift in U.S. cent composition, making it a bridge between the classic copper era and the modern zinc one, and this transitional significance adds to its mystique and value. Beyond the striking errors, some 1980 pennies show unusual surface features such as lamination errors, where part of the coin's metal surface peels or flakes due to impurities in the planchet, and these create fascinating patterns that collectors prize, because they visually demonstrate the flaws in the metal preparation process. And depending on how dramatic the lamination error is, such coins can be valued from hundreds to thousands of dollars, but when found combined with other striking errors, they can multiply in value exponentially. Now another fascinating aspect of the 1980 penny market is the discovery of proof-like strikes that were not supposed to exist. Certain coins exhibit mirror-like fields and frosted devices similar to proof coins but were struck at circulation mints, suggesting that they might have been early die tests or accidental high-pressure strikes. And if you find one of these with a mint error, its value jumps immensely. For collectors, certification and authentication are critical, because in a world where billions of 1980 pennies exist, only a few genuine errors are worth big money, and grading services like PCGS, NGC, and ANAX play a major role in verifying and preserving the authenticity and condition of these coins. The higher the grade, the greater the value, especially for coins showing clear mint errors, full red luster, and minimal wear. And when these coins are encapsulated in tamper-proof holders with official certification labels describing their error types, they become highly sought after at auctions, often sparking bidding wars that push prices to record-breaking levels. The story of the 1981 cent coin is not just about metal and minting, it's also about discovery, patience, and the thrill of finding treasure in the most unexpected place, because many of these valuable coins were found in ordinary rolls of pennies, pocket change, or old jars tucked away in drawers. And that's what makes it so exciting, the idea that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon a coin worth millions. Imagine spending years collecting coins without realizing one of them could pay off your house, your debts, or even set you for life. That's the magic of coin hunting. Next, 1996 1-cent coin, another amazing and mind-blowing episode where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable minting mistakes that have turned ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortunes. And today we're going to uncover one of the most surprising, fascinating, and valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1996 1-cent coin. A small copper-plated zinc Lincoln penny that looks just like any other to the untrained eye but hides an incredible story behind its metal, design, and minting anomalies that make certain versions of this coin worth as much as $3 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single 1996 Lincoln cent that could be sitting unnoticed in your coin jar, wallet, or old piggy bank could be worth millions due to the rare and extraordinary mint errors it carries. So stay tuned and let's explore how this ordinary-looking coin became one of the most desirable error coins in modern US coinage. Now to understand why the 1996 penny can be so valuable, we first need to step back and understand the context in which it was produced. The US Mint in the 1990s was producing billions of Lincoln cents every year using high-speed presses and automated machinery, with coins made primarily from a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. This change from solid copper to copper-plated zinc had begun in 1982 to cut costs, but it also introduced new challenges in the minting process, such as plating bubbles, incomplete bonding, planchet contamination, and dye deterioration, and by 1996, even with advanced minting technology, the massive scale of production meant that errors were inevitable, and these errors, when rare enough, could create coins worth unimaginable amounts. Among the most notable of these are doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, and transitional planchets, all of which have been reported on 1996 cents, each contributing in unique ways to the coin's rarity and value, starting with one of the most dramatic and sought-after varieties, the doubled die obverse. This error happens when the die used to strike the coin receives a misaligned impression from the hub during the die-making process, resulting in elements of the design appearing doubled, and on the 1996 penny, the doubling can appear on the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word, "Liberty," sometimes so clearly that it can be seen with the naked eye. Collectors go crazy for strong doubling because it's a visual error that's easy to appreciate, and depending on the strength and location of the doubling, a 1996 doubled die can be worth anywhere from a few $100s to several thousand, but the most extreme known examples, especially those in mint state condition with a strong, bold doubling and perfect red luster, have fetched valuations approaching seven figures. And when coupled with other striking anomalies, the value skyrockets into the multi-million range. Next comes one of the most spectacular minting blunders of all time, the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned in the striking chamber, leading to a design that's shifted to one side, with part of the blank area remaining unstruck, and for collectors, the more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin, especially if the date and mint mark remain fully visible. A 1996 penny struck 50% off-center with clear design details is an absolute rarity, and such examples have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars, but when that same coin also exhibits another error, like being struck on the wrong planchet or having doubling, it can enter the realm of million-dollar valuations. And yes, there are rumors and reports in numismatic circles about a few such specimens from 1996 that possess multiple errors, creating a perfect storm of rarity and value. Another fascinating type of error found on some 1996 pennies is the broad strike. This occurs when the coin is struck outside the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread out more than usual, creating a wider, thinner appearance, and these broad strikes can look quite dramatic, especially when combined with misaligned dies or partial collar strikes. And while minor broad strikes might not be worth much, perfectly centered broad strikes with strong details and no damage are rare and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now one of the most thrilling discoveries for error coin enthusiasts involves wrong planchet strikes, meaning a coin was accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, such as a dime or a foreign coin, and because 1996 was a year of heavy production at multiple U.S. mints including Philadelphia and Denver, the potential for such mix-ups increased. Imagine finding a 1996 penny that's lighter than normal and appears silver in color. That could mean it was struck on a dime planchet, which is a very rare and highly valuable minting mistake. Authenticated examples of wrong planchet strikes have sold for incredible sums at major coin auctions, and because only a few are known to exist from 1996, their rarity alone pushes their value into 6 and 7 figures, especially when the coin retains a full strike and visible date. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping and legendary 1996 penny is the transitional planchet error, a type of mistake that occurs when leftover blanks from a previous or experimental metal composition are accidentally used in a New Year's production. While the penny's official composition in 1996 was zinc with a thin copper plating, there have been reports of a few pieces being struck on experimental copper or bronze planchets left over from previous tests, and these are the true million-dollar coins. Metallurgical testing and expert certification have revealed that these coins differ slightly in weight and color from normal issues, and because only a handful exist, their value has reached up to $3 million, making them some of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents in existence. Now, aside from planchet errors, 1996 pennies are also known for having die cracks and die chips, which occur as the metal dies wear down over time and begin to break, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the finished coins. These cracks can sometimes form interesting patterns, like lines radiating from Lincoln's portrait or raised bumps near the lettering, and while most are minor, dramatic die breaks, known as cuds, where a piece of the die actually breaks off leaving a large blank area, can make the coin unique and therefore more collectible. Collectors often seek out 1996 pennies with large cuds or noticeable cracks because each one is literally one of a kind, and when preserved in uncirculated condition, they can be worth thousands. Now, one of the more subtle but fascinating types of mint error found on 1996 pennies is the misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse designs don't line up perfectly. Sometimes the front design is shifted slightly while the reverse remains centered, or vice versa, and these errors, while not as visually dramatic as off-center strikes, still draw attention because they reveal imperfections in the minting process. In some cases, these misalignments cause the design elements to touch the rim unevenly or even stretch the image slightly, creating a visually appealing distortion that collectors love. And when this occurs alongside doubling or other anomalies, the coin's uniqueness multiplies, making it highly desirable. Another important aspect of the 1996 pennies story is its relationship to mint mark variations. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint bear no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a small D beneath the date, and San Francisco produced proof coins for collectors. And occasionally, repunched or distorted mint marks occur when the D was struck twice or slightly misaligned, creating what's called an RPM or repunched mint mark error. These varieties are beloved by collectors and can be worth far more than face value, with some rare repunched mint marks selling for hundreds or even thousands depending on the clarity of the doubling. The 1996 penny also exhibits a phenomenon known as plating errors. Due to the copper plating process not bonding evenly to the zinc core, sometimes bubbles, blisters, or exposed zinc areas appear on the surface, and while small blisters are common, extreme cases where large sections of the copper layer are missing or flaking can be very rare and valuable, particularly if the coin remains in mint condition. And what makes the 1996 pennies special is that these plating issues often occur in visually striking ways that make each coin unique, some even showing mirror-like exposed zinc patches that contrast with the copper tone. And collectors love such unusual combinations, which give the coin both rarity and visual appeal. Moving deeper into the world of 1996 Lincoln cents, another highly desirable error type is the multiple strike error, where the coin is struck more than once, often slightly off-center with each strike, producing overlapping design elements that look surreal. These double or triple strikes can happen if the coin fails to eject from the press properly. And because the mint's quality control would have caught most of them, very few escaped into circulation, which means surviving. Examples are incredibly rare. Last 1992 1-cent coin, everyone to another thrilling deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable minting mistakes that have turned ordinary pocket change into million-dollar collectibles. And today's story is one that will leave you absolutely amazed because we are going to talk about the 1992 1-cent coin, the Lincoln penny that has shocked the numismatic community and made headlines for being worth as much as $2 million due to its extraordinary minting errors and mysterious variations. This small, simple coin, which most people ignore or toss into a jar, hides secrets that could change someone's life forever if discovered. So stay tuned and listen carefully because by the time you finish this story, you'll want to check every 1992 penny you own, since one of them could easily be worth a fortune. Now let's begin with the context that makes this coin so special. The year 1992 was a transitional period for the US Mint. Not in terms of metal composition but in terms of design refinement, specifically the transition between the original Lincoln Memorial reverse design used since 1959 and a modified version that was prepared for release in 1993. This change was subtle but historic, because the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin was adjusted. The new design had the letters almost touching, called the close AM design, whereas the standard 1992 penny featured a noticeable gap known as the wide AM design. Now here's where the story gets exciting, the 1992 penny that has the close AM reverse, which wasn't supposed to appear until the next year, is one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins in existence, and the discovery of these coins was completely accidental, when sharp-eyed collectors noticed that some 1992 pennies had the wrong reverse design. They realized they had stumbled upon a transitional design error, and as the years went by, these coins became legends among collectors, with confirmed examples fetching tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even crossing the $1 million mark depending on condition and mint mark. The reason this error is so valuable is because it represents a rare moment in minting history when the dies for the upcoming design were accidentally used on a small number of 1,992 coins, creating a hybrid coin that technically shouldn't exist, and since the US Mint produced billions of regular 1992 pennies, finding one of these rare close AM varieties is like finding a needle in a haystack. Now the 1992 close AM pennies exist in two main types, one from the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark and another from the Denver Mint bearing the D mint mark, and both are valuable, but the 1992 D close AM penny is considered even rarer, with fewer than a dozen confirmed examples known to exist, and one of those sold at auction for an astonishing amount approaching $2 million due to its pristine mint state condition and its place in minting history. So what exactly makes the 1992 close AM error so special beyond its rarity? Well, it's because this coin represents a transitional error, one of the most exciting kinds of mistakes in all of numismatics. Transitional errors occur when a mint accidentally uses dies from one year's design to strike coins of another year. And these mistakes often happen during periods of change or experimentation. In this case, the reverse design for 1993 was mistakenly paired with 1992 obverse dies, creating a coin that bridges two different design generations, making it an unintentional historical artifact. But the close AM error isn't the only thing that makes the 1992 penny fascinating. There are also reports of doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, and misaligned dies that occurred during this year's production, each of which adds another layer of value and intrigue for collectors. Let's start with the doubled die errors, which occur when the hub used to create the die impresses the design twice at slightly different angles, leading to a doubling effect on the coin's surface. In 1992, some pennies show doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date, and while these might be subtle, a strong doubled die, especially when combined with a close AM reverse, can be worth an astronomical amount. Since doubling errors are among the most visually striking and highly prized in coin collecting, imagine a 1992 D close AM penny that also has a double die obverse. That would be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, easily commanding a multi-million-dollar price tag, and that's part of why people continue to check every 1992 penny they find, because the possibilities for rare combinations are endless. Another important error type that affects the 1992 penny is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. And while off-center strikes are fairly common, when they happen on a coin that already has a major variety like the close AM, the result is a one-of-a-kind piece worth a fortune. Even a 10% off-center 1992 penny with a visible date and mint mark can sell for hundreds, but when combined with a significant design variety or proof-like finish, the value can soar exponentially. Now let's talk about planchet errors. Since 1992 was a high-production year, some coins were struck on defective or improperly prepared planchets, leading to lamination errors where pieces of metal flake or peel from the surface, or improper plating where the copper coating doesn't adhere evenly to the zinc core, creating strange bubbles or discolorations. And while these alone might not make a coin worth millions, when they appear on an already rare close AM variety, they increase both uniqueness and collector appeal. Die cracks and die chips also play a role in increasing value, because each crack or chip on a die creates a unique raised line or blob of metal on the coin, making no two coins exactly alike, and large die breaks, known as cuds, can make coins visually dramatic, especially if they occur on Lincoln's face or near the rim, and collectors pay significant premiums for well-formed, attractive die breaks, especially from the early 1990s when minting technology still produced such visible imperfections. Another captivating aspect of the 1992 penny lies in its proof and business strike. Differences: while proof coins are meant for collectors and have mirror-like finishes, a few 1992 proof close AM coins have been discovered, and these are even rarer than the circulation strike versions, because the proof dies were only supposed to be used for special mint sets, yet somehow, a few escaped into circulation or were struck using experimental dies, and when authenticated, these proof close AM pennies command jaw-dropping prices, sometimes surpassing those of the business strikes. Now, to truly appreciate the magnitude of this error, you need to understand the minting process. Coins are produced using pairs of dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, and in 1992, the mint was preparing for the upcoming design change by testing new reverse dies, but a few of those experimental dies accidentally found their way into regular production, leading to the creation of the close AM pennies, because so few were made, and even fewer have survived in mint condition. Each one discover becomes an instant headline in the coin world, and when they appear at auction, they attract fierce bidding from top collectors and institutions eager to own a piece of minting history. One of the most famous discoveries happened when a collector in the late 2000s noticed that the spacing between the A and M on a 1992 D penny was unusually close, and after sending it to PCGS for authentication, it was confirmed as a genuine transitional error, instantly valued in the hundreds of thousands, and over time, as awareness grew and more examples were found, the prices only went up, with some now estimated at up to $2 million depending on condition and rarity. And here's an interesting detail: the best way to identify a 1992 close AM is by comparing it to a normal one. On the close AM version, the letters A and M nearly touch, and the designer's initials, FG, near the Lincoln Memorial are slightly farther from the building than on the standard coin. These subtle differences are what make the coin so special, because they reflect the exact moment in minting history when design transition took place, giving it enormous historical and numismatic value. Beyond design errors, there are also fascinating strike anomalies on 1992 pennies, including double strikes, rotated dies, and brockages, where one coin sticks to a die and impresses its design backward onto another coin. These kinds of dramatic errors are extremely rare, especially for modern issues, and when found, they are instant conversation pieces that attract collectors from all over the world. And once again, if a coin like this also happens to have the close AM reverse, it becomes a holy grail piece worth millions, and because of how unpredictable and random the minting process can be, such combinations, while rare, are not impossible, which fuels the endless excitement and speculation in the collector community. The 1992 penny also represents a turning point in coinage design precision, because by the early 1990s, the U.S.